I'm actually doing research in this, is looking at how athletes are doing, how they're thinking about their food, how they're thinking about their nutrition, and even their like identity as an athlete if they're injured. So I'll come back and
So
talk another
you
time
start
about
to
that.
but you start to tap in on
Yeah.
their relationship with food.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. Which is something I talk to my athletes about, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not a therapist, but like their body image, that's something that comes in, especially when you're working with. I'm going to use gymnastics, obviously, as an
A
example again, right? Think about what we train in, right? Or what you train in. I'm not gymnastics training. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll start.
you we have the adult classes.
Okay. All right. Totally.
Come join
Stay
us.
tuned. Yeah. But the uniforms, what they compete in, right? It's
Right. It's the
form
leotards,
fitting.
it's form
It's
fit
a
exactly.
leotard,
Yeah.
right? So I feel like I'm talking to my athletes. I think I mentioned before, I work with a lot of figure skaters as well. I was just speaking with a figure skater of mine the other day, and she said sometimes she's thinking more about what people are thinking of her body in her competition outfit than how she's skating.
Wow.
And in that circumstance, we talk about it a bit. I'm not doing the heavy lifting. I'm staying in my lane. I'm not a psychologist, but I do work very closely with a lot of sports
Right.
psychologists who are trained to navigate that. But I come in when, well, I'm thinking about that a lot. So I'm cutting back what I'm eating. And then that's having typically negative impact on energy, increasing injury risk, ability to focus, because now we're getting in that low energy state.
Right.
So body image is a thing. Relationship with food is a thing.
Yeah. What effects has, because as I think of body image, and I
Yeah.
think of just our young athletes,
Yes.
especially the younger kids who are
Yeah.
growing up in this age of social media,
Mm-hmm.
what effects has social media had,
Yeah. Yeah.
just in on the nutrition industry?
Totally.
Um,
Yeah. No, great question. I just gave a webinar actually on fueling adolescent and youth athletes, and this was a big topic, and I got a lot of questions on it too. So it's the immediate availability of information, right? Where are people spending so much of their time now? I feel like
on their
everybody's
phone.
walking around like this,
Yeah.
right?
Guilty.
TikTok. I mean, me too, right? Like, there's a reason my 3-year-old and my 1-year-old always want mommy's phone, because mommy's always on her phone, right? I try not to be. That
Yeah.
sounds terrible, but it's right in the palm of your hand,
Right.
and it's younger adolescents. You're targeted.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of scary if you ever hear about how like TikTok, they know exactly what they're putting in front of you.
Right.
And I've heard a lot of my athletes say, if you tend to plug into content that is nutrition related, that is about a diet, they're going to target the heck out of you with that information. So
And they'll try to sell you something.
exactly.
There's this guy that I follow, and I appreciate his. I don't even remember his name. I'll probably put it on video.
Sure.
But I appreciate what he does. And
Yeah.
a lot of people hate what he does, but what he does is he'll try to call out different fitness influencers.
Yes.
Because a lot of times
Yes.
they'll edit their pictures or even
Yes.
add filters to their
Yes.
videos to make them look
Correct.
slimmer or whatever it is, and so
Yep.
they're essentially selling a lie.
Yes. Yes.
And so he'll call them out,
Love that.
and he has this thing where he says, "Oh, welcome to the show," and he'll just kind of go over like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is the part where they edited the picture."
Oh,
and
I love
they
that.
do that because they're trying to sell you in on their fitness program or their
Correct.
nutrition plan,
Correct.
and essentially selling you empty promises
You got that right.
that they're not even achieving themselves.
Yep. Yep. No, so I think that those kinds of accounts are really helpful, right?
Yeah.
Because the other thing I was going to say is that anybody can have a TikTok account. Anybody. And you don't have to pass a test or do anything to recommend information, to start a trend, right? I feel like especially during pandemic, it went crazy with people following these trends on TikTok that are not evidence-based, right? I'm an evidence-based person, which means
Right.
every recommendation I'm giving is because there's been extensive research on it. And if I don't know if there's been research, or I'm going to tell someone that like, oh, this, this has not been studied in this population, so I'm not going to recommend it, right?
Yeah.
For that reason, right? They might study it in the future, and X, Y, or Z might be something that's recommended, but it's not yet. So all this stuff, though, it's dangerous because anybody can give information. Any Joe Schmo can set up an account, use filters, say, do this, don't do that, eat this, don't eat that. But again, it's very targeted. Like, if they know you're looking for it, and they're going to flood you with it. So I think it really can send you down a rabbit hole. I've heard of so many teenagers and younger coming into my office and saying, well, I saw this, or this started me in this pattern of eating or of exercise that was really dangerous. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad that we didn't have, here I go with my age again, but like social media wasn't a thing. I always say, I think Mark Zuckerberg and I are the same age. So like Facebook like came out like but like it wasn't
It wasn't
like,
as popular as it is right now.
no, it wasn't, it like barely existed, right? So I
Right.
know I'm ancient, but
No,
but
no,
no,
not
it's that's okay. But
no.
but you know what I mean though.
Yeah.
It's at the fingertips, and honestly, I think it's pretty dangerous. So I think having people out there are a lot of really great like people like you're speaking about, right, that are
Yeah.
saying like this is fake, right? Or people that'll post like, oh, look at this picture,
Right.
and then this is what I actually look like, right?
Right.
All you need is a little lighting and an angle, and like, you know, so I think more people that are calling that out, or dietitians that are on there that are calling people out on the fake things,
Yeah.
demystifying, you know, or debunking myths rather. I think we need more of that.
Yeah.
So it's something to keep an eye out for, and maybe limiting like kids' time on social media and things like that. I set limits
Or
for
at least
myself,
monitoring
and
the
monitoring.
best that you can, because obviously you're not gonna
It's
be able
not
to
right.
see
You can,
everything.
right. You're not going to sit over your kid's shoulder all the
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
right? But yeah. And if you look at someone's like landing page, you can see the kind of stuff that's coming at them.
Yeah.
So it's pretty telling,
Yeah, 'cause
unfortunately.
that'll. Yeah, I can only imagine how much misinformation is
A
there
lot
they're getting.
more misinformation than good information.
Yeah.
I will say that.